Let's call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
McNeil.
Here.
Trustee Martinez.
Here.
Trustee Pierce.
President.
Trustee Peterson.
Present.
Mayor Gardner.
Present. All right, so a couple announcements. This is Jewish Heritage Month in the month of May. We've had a couple as we move into the summer. We have the pool opened. The pool opened Memorial Day weekend. I believe it's weekend hours until school gets out. Is that right? Splash pad hours are 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. I had the privilege of attending the ICSC conference, which is for developers and businesses looking to develop or open businesses in certain areas. It's the biggest conference like that in the country, with the village administrator and the assistant village administrator. And I believe we have some good meetings and traction that have come out of that, particularly for all developable areas, but the marketplace and also the Piggly Wiggly Shopping Center. The Memorial Day ceremony at the VFW was well attended. Thank you for putting that on. I don't know if Paul Swanson's here, but oh, there he is. He's hidden back there. Thank you. And then it seems to move the last couple of years, but the Taste of Summer, I think is 1 year later than it was last year because I think it started in May. But this year, the Taste of Summer will be June 4th through June 7th. Looks like we're gonna have nice weather, so make sure you're gonna have to water your grass. And if you care, it looks like I think the Cubs are actually winning 3-0, so it's about time. Public comment. I have one person for public comment. I believe Michael Mara signed up.
I will apologize for the length of my speech, but it is an agenda item. My name is Michael Mara, and I'm here as a resident and as a local veteran who cares deeply about how this community honors those who have served. And after Monday's service, I felt compelled to speak tonight. The concerns I share are not new. They have been raised repeatedly for months and in some cases years by the American VFW, the American Legion, and many stakeholders throughout the village and township. I'll begin with the most visible issue regarding the Veterans Memorial is the location. The decision to place the proposed Veterans Memorial in the wetland area, otherwise known by some as the swamp, is not only disappointing but baffling. A memorial should stand on solid ground, both symbolically and literally. Wetlands do not offer dignity, permanence, or stability. They offer flooding, settling, and the constant reminder that this was not a site chosen to honor veterans, but a site chosen because it was convenient. Both Commander Josiak of the American Legion and Commander Swanson of the VFW, on behalf of all their members, made this clear in letters that have been previously sent to this board. They stated that the wetlands location does not reflect the dignity and reverence befitting those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. They warn that the site is unsuitable and symbolically inappropriate. Second are the financial inconsistencies of the Veterans Memorial Board and those closely affiliated to them and the risks they create for both the village and the taxpayers. Over the past months, the Veterans Memorial Group has presented conflicting financial reports and misleading statements on progress that shift depending on the audience. This is not a minor bookkeeping issue or harmless fabrications. It's a fundamental governance problem. I'm not pretending to be an attorney. There's plenty of you here, but it's my understanding when the village provides taxpayer dollars, staff time, or municipal resources to support an independent nonprofit that cannot produce consistent, transparent financial information or makes inaccurate statements and claims, the village assumes liability, not the nonprofit, not the committee, the village, and that means the taxpayers. It means the residents who expect their money to be handled responsibly in the village could be tied to a project whose financial foundation is unclear at best and contradictory at worst. That is not just a concern, it is a risk, a real tangible reputational and financial risk, and it's entirely avoidable. Third, the lack of true involvement from actual local veterans and not cherry-picked yes men and women looking to stroke their egos. The American Legion, the oldest veterans organization in Antioch, was not meaningfully included. The VFW was not meaningfully included. They are the only congressionally recognized voices in Antioch of the men and women who wore the uniform. I'll remind everyone that the current Veterans Memorial Committee is not affiliated or recognized by any congressional group. Currently, there are 94 documented veteran memorials and markers throughout Lake County, all of which have been congressionally recognized and with support. If the process continues to move forward with the exclusion of the VFW and Legion, it won't be an oversight, it would be a failure of process. In their letters, Commander Josiak wrote that the Legion would not have preferred the selected location had we been included more meaningfully. Commander Swanson wrote that the process has caused significant turmoil and division among veterans and between veterans in the village. When both organizations independently raise the same concerns, that is not a disagreement, it's an alarm going off. And that alarm couldn't have been louder on Monday. And then there's the William E. Brooke Memorial. Both commanders expressed deep concern about encroaching on that space, a space that honors a man who served this community with distinction. To infringe upon his memorial is disrespectful to his family and to every veteran who understands what legacy truly means. Bill Brooke wasn't just a name on a plaque. He was a pillar of this community. He was a mentor to local business owners, a supporter of our civic organizations, and a man whose service, both military and civilian, helped shape Antioch we know today. His influence touched families, businesses, and for generations of residents. I'd like to skip over, but it became painfully clear that some members of this board didn't even know his name. They didn't know who he was, what he meant to Antioch, or that this September marks the 25th anniversary of his memorial. For some, to even consider encroaching on the wetland memorial without understanding its history or the man it honors is also not just an oversight. It's disrespectful to his family, to the veterans, and to every resident who remembers what Bill Brooke did for this community. These points may be difficult to hear, but if more time had been spent researching history, we might already have a Veterans Memorial that all of us could be proud of. One built on unity, respect, and knowledge, not on convenience, shortcuts, or misunderstandings. Bill Brooke deserves better, our veterans deserve better, and the history of the people we all claim to honor deserve better. A Veterans Memorial should unite this community. So tonight I'm asking this board to correct course, not for me, not for politics, but for the men and women we plan to honor. They deserve a memorial worthy of their sacrifice, and our residents deserve a process worthy of their trust. Thank you all.
Thank you. On On to regular business. The first item is the approval of the May 13th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes as presented. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee Peterson,
Second.
second trustee Pierce. Roll call, please.
Mason,
Yes.
Luther,
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Pierce,
Aye.
Peterson,
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Next item is discussion regarding liquor code amendments previously discussed at the last meeting. Andrew will summarize the memo here.
Yes, Mayor and Board, thank you. So just picking up from where we left last time, we made one change to the red line proposed draft of the liquor code, which was for the village board to retain authorization to approve the limited Class G special event licenses. And again, those would be limited to 4 special events to any one applicant per calendar year. So that's the only change that we reverted back to in the red line. Other than that, just some other updates. Was that staff has met with Black Velvet Lounge. They were here last time we spoke about the clear view, and they have met and agreed to open up a window on each of the 3 sides that are operational for them. So we believe that meets the intent of the clear view. So we were pleased to work with them on that. And then we'll talk about it further in the regular business, but staff did speak with 3 of the liquor license holders and further discussion about converting them to a Class E bar and tavern license, so that better compliance with their operations. Discussion.
Yeah, I asked the attorney, I sent him an email, if we can add in the liquor code. So, like the fire department runs false alarms, they get so many per year. And if we get a fight at a tavern, there, whatever that number is, we'd have to get it from the police department. They're given 5, 10, whatever that number is, anything over that's $100 fine. And that would be a good way to monitor problem taverns, problem bars, problem restaurants. By, wait a second, you had 20 police calls. Because that's an unknown factor when they come to renew.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
You know, no, it's a novel approach by Mr. Masek. You did email me today. I did not see it. I'm glad we did have the opportunity to speak about it. With your permission, with everyone's permission, I'd like to work on the language a little bit because maybe it's convictions for crimes of violence or supervision or conditional discharge for crimes of violence on there, or and one point that you and I discussed, and I think we had a good discussion about it, brief, although it might be, is sometimes places get bad calls, right? And so we need to clear that out. But excellent point. We'll somehow work to incorporate that in there. And then I would ask the police department logistically to comment on, would they be able to track it? Would they know? Would there be a recording system for something like that? Because obviously, if we don't track it, it just goes to the dead letter box, and it doesn't really mean anything that we wrote this ordinance, which was one of the mayor's goals for 2026, was to clean up our code and make sure we only have things that we use in the code book.
I think staff can work with the attorney and bring language back. The idea is you get so many calls for service, and after some threshold, there's a dollar associated with those
Fire
calls.
department does it. It should be a good way to track. Then you get the problem people, maybe new owners.
Go back to you.
Any other discussion on this side? Discussion over here? All right, we'll move on to item number 3. I know this is obviously a highly charged discussion or issue, so I just ask everybody, I don't want to have to pick this up or use this, so please, everybody, just, any side comments, peanut gallery stuff, please keep that to yourself. We have the presentation that we're going to update on the project. Deb, I think Josh Bolter, I don't see him here. Is he here? So Josh is not here for the support. Andrew's going to summarize the memo and the public. We already had public comment on this, so the floor is yours. And then I don't know.
Sure, Debbie. Sure, I'm happy to. So, staff's been meeting with Ms. Retner and Josh Bowler. We've been working in consultation with them, leading up to a groundbreaking for the Veterans Memorial. The village board approved the location for the William E. Brooke Memorial Park on March 12th, 2025 as part of a resolution number 2521. And then the board approved the purchase of an eagle for display at the memorial as a tribute to the veterans on July 23rd as resolution number 2556. So following that direction, staff's been working in consultation with Ms. Retner and Mr. Bowler. And so several notable items have been completed to date, including the completion of delivery of the eagle. So the eagle has landed. Additionally, 6 monuments honoring each of the branches of the United States Armed Forces have been fabricated, and those are ready for delivery. They're in storage, and we do need to take receipt of those because otherwise we'll start getting charged for storage. So we will figure out a way to receive those in the next 30 days. Then Ms. Retner and the Veterans Memorial Committee have raised over $100,000 to date. They currently have approximately $80,000 cash on hand. There's an additional $25,000 in sponsorships secured in writing from the Lions Club, but that's only once there's a groundbreaking established. And then Mr. Bowler isn't here today, but we did meet with him, and so he secured many material supplies and labor that will be needed for the construction of the Veterans Memorial. He's also indicated that he likely could secure additional contributions if a groundbreaking date was finalized, and also that some of the things that have been allocated from vendors as donations are a little bit in jeopardy if some folks have been waiting years. And so they're looking for direction from the village on whether or not to have a groundbreaking as well. And then the village is prepared to donate certain public works services. We've kind of figured out in the list of remaining items what we could assist with in-house, like trucking and different things of that nature. So we've gone through that in consultation with staff, Ms. Retner and Mr. Bowler. And then there are outstanding items, and I just wanted the board to be aware of what those items are, generally speaking, before we made any decision for a go or no go. And those were summarized in the memo, but it's landscaping, certain concrete material, miscellaneous equipment for the construction work that'll need to be rented, the flag poles, disposal of the spoils, limestone cap, masonry installation. This is not exhaustive, but just to give you an idea in more detail in the memo, as I said, but some of the electrical supplies, including the conduit and the fixtures, would still be needed as well. And so there are outstanding items. We estimate that to be around a $50,000 number, but I really should have put in a range in the memo because these aren't exact numbers. We're still getting precise dollars for each of these equipment. So it could be $50,000, $60,000 type range. But the point is it's not $150,000 and it's not zero. So that's where we ballparked the remaining items. And then notably, there's still sponsorship opportunities that are available. There's still 2 armed forces monuments to be sold. Those are $25,000 each. The state of Illinois flag and the village of Antioch flag are also available for sponsorship still to be purchased at $3,500 each. So staff wanted to bring all this information forward. Ms. Retner will turn it over to you as well, but staff was looking for making sure everybody had the information before we proceeded any further and looking for direction if we should proceed with the groundbreaking, knowing this information, or if we needed to wait and take other things into account.
Thanks, Andrew. Good evening, Mayor and trustees. Basically, I'm here just to give an update of where we stand with the memorial. And if possible, can we get a groundbreaking date? Actually, to date, we have raised $227,000, 227,288. We have raised that amount of money. You trustees have our financial statement as of yesterday, and it indicates what we've raised, what we've spent, and I will tell you, okay, our current bank balance is $105,678. We owe $45,000 on the monuments, and as Andrew indicated, those monuments have been completed. What? That's a little too loud. Those monuments have been completed and they are in Ohio right now. If they stay after the end of this month, we will be charged $1,100 a month for storage. So we've got to get those somewhere close to Antioch. The Eagle is here. As Andrew mentioned, to date, we have 84 bricks. We need a total of 2,900. That leaves us 2,816 that they will either be donated or purchased, and that total will be $10,254. Add that to the 45. We owe out right now 55,254. Subtract that from the 105,678 that we have. We then would have a balance of 50,424. Josh isn't here to speak about his numbers, and I cannot, and I will not speak those numbers tonight. Josh has indicated that he believes that we will get more contractors involved once we set a specific groundbreaking date. The problem is Josh has been reaching out for 3 years now, And contractors that he had commitments from are basically waffling because the date has been changed so many times and pushed back so many times. In addition to that, every time the date gets pushed back, the cost of materials increases, and it has been substantial so far over the past 3 years. And we then have to incur that. We have no choice. The only thing we're locked into is the monuments and the Eagles. So basically, I'm here tonight to ask for a go-ahead date, a groundbreaking date. Yes, we are short, but we believe that once people see that we are breaking ground, they will come forward. There's no guarantee. I understand that. But Josh believes contractors will come forward, and I believe we will get other donators.
Open, when's that? I was reluctant. No, I'm kidding.
Well-
It's your book.
First of all, I asked for bank statements multiple times. This figure I don't believe. So I made a statement, we cannot use taxpayer money for a monument. Still don't get what an eagle is except for a representation of rank. It's not sanctioned in any format. I don't get it. Just don't get it. You had a 501(c) for 50,000, you went above that. Never saw the paperwork that was changed. So I don't even know if this stuff is done above board. So when you say on your 501(c), because I looked it up with the state, we're gonna go up to 50,000, and I didn't see any amendments when I looked it up online. That's why I asked for bank statements. So this is nothing without a bank statement, without documentation. I couldn't vote for something that, how much is to the taxpayer when I said I'm not gonna vote for tax for something that especially the vets don't want. And when Mr. Matthias came in here and gave a fictional letter that he took a vote with the membership, he did not. That was all a bunch of nonsense. Came to my office, spent an hour and a half trying to convince me that he wasn't going to move. He moved. He's no longer around. That he was controlling the voice of the VFW, and that was just there's so many inconsistencies. I would be foolish to sit there and believe Mr. Matthias, that his word when he said he wasn't moving, he was living with his parents on, I'm not going to give the address, but living there, there's just so much inconsistency. And when I'm denied material, why? There's something that's hidden.
As I stated earlier, Trustee Masek, I provided you all of those bank statements.
I never got one bank.
I'm not going
I
to
can
argue
check-
with you, but I did
I
provide them
can
to
check
you.
my email, there's
Okay,
nothing
yes.
in there, so.
Okay.
And what is it, what
What
is it that you don't believe?
I don't believe any of these numbers. I don't, how much short are you? And why should the taxpayers, I got an unknown, how are you short? These folks don't want it. In
I'm
that
not
location.
asking the taxpayers to do anything.
no back and forth yet. We'll get, when he's done, I'll give you a chance to respond.
Yeah. So these folks don't want it. I asked for bank statements. I emailed the mayor on it. I emailed, I think when Jeff was, I did that, got a runaround, never got the answers to my question, open meeting, why the 501(c) said 50,000, you went over that. And was there an amendment? Never got that amendment. If there was an amendment to it, never got any, now zero information, zero. And these folks are here for the reason is they don't want it in that place. That's why we're here tonight with all these people. They want it in a location where there's history, and the history of this town is not a different area. There's already 3 memorials already. These folks recognize it. These folks deserve. They fought. I couldn't fight because of my back. I did another thing with the rescue squad. But if these guys wanted a specific location, I'm not going to deny them that. It's just, it's insane that we've got a location, it's feasible, that location was looked at to be there. Then when Larry Hansen was mayor, they were gonna put it at the corner of the new park. That got moved around and it went back there and it stayed back there. You got involved and all of a sudden there's a location. And I don't understand the location move. I voted, I was the only no vote because the location and the lack of transparency in this whole process. And I hope everybody in this room appreciates, if it's going to go somewhere, it's going where these folks want it to go. And we've got the American Legion here, if the VFW, if they want to stand up and say something different, I'm gonna vote with these folks.
Fine.
Okay, again, I provided you with the information that you requested.
Let her, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Okay, just
yeah,
let her,
that
I
point's
mean-
done and over.
okay, we will let, I mean, she at least can respond to the inquiry, so I'll let
I
her.
provided you with that information. As far as the location, and the location was changed when I got involved, no, trustee Masek, that is incorrect. That is incorrect. The location was determined by a group of people to include Mayor Gardner, who was there. It had nothing to do with me.
Wasn't with the board, so the board did not make that decision based off the people's needs.
Again, I can't, I have nothing to do with that.
Government, we make the
Okay,
votes,
yeah,
we run
all
the
right,
meetings.
yes, okay, there was, I will put on the record, there was a vote, and that was taken on the date he said, so that is part of the record. Trustee Bluthart?
I know that the bank statements have been sent to Andrew and I believe the mayor. You've seen them all. Can you verify what the amount is in the last bank statement you've seen for trustee Masek, please?
I did receive a statement from Ms. Retner when we had met in consultation. She had provided a state bank of the lakes that holds the dollar. So we did see the available cash on hand. I think at the time that we were meeting, it was 79,000, and I know that number fluctuates a little bit. Did you say you provided us new ones this evening? A new
Well,
statement?
my
Oh, you
latest
have one right
deposit
there.
slip,
Yeah, so
but I don't have a bank statement
yeah,
from
so we
this
saw
month because it's not the end of
we
the month.
recently received one for 79,000 and some.
Correct,
change.
79,486. Currently, it's 86,78 because I made a deposit yesterday. And I have that receipt right here.
In regards to the finances, every dime is accounted for in those statements from the very first deposit up to the last. So I think at a minimum, we can copy those all over and send them to you again if you haven't gotten them, or any other trustee that wants them, because they're all 100% legitimate. There's nothing wrong with those numbers. In regards to the sponsorships and everything else, those are all legitimate. There's been 4 of the monuments that have been spoken for. One of them has not paid the Lions, but that's based on groundbreaking, but we do have a letter from them saying that they will as soon as the groundbreaking. We have 8 benches sold, 84, 88 bricks. I don't know the exact number. The American flag has been accosted for. The village, which I don't know how you voted on it at the time, agreed to purchase the Eagle, which was done as a donation to this project. That's been purchased and done. That was $50,000. So all of those numbers are 100% legitimate. Now, what has changed is when Josh Bowler gave us an estimate back in, and excuse me, I don't know the exact date when he gave it to us, but I want to say it was last November. For everything, he was thinking it was gonna cost, his cost was gonna be 141,130, which was, he was hoping to cover it all via donations. What's happened is exactly what Deb mentioned, is that over the course of time, he's been able to secure some have faltered off, some are saying they might come back, and we do have a shortage right now. Based on what Josh has told us and what I've talked with Andrew about and Deb, is in that 40 to 50,000 range. 48,000, I think, was the exact number that he had, but that is subject to change. Now, that was before we're still raising money and things are being done all the time. She sold 4 more bricks in the last week or so.
Those have gone in, that's $1,000 right there. So things are constantly changing on the dollar amounts, but nothing has been hidden, nothing is missing, nothing is out there. The only number that's fluctuating right now is the actual construction cost because of the fact that we're counting on these donations from the contractors through the Great Lakes Construction Association. And he got that down to 150,000 from this 140. So if we were to raise the 48,000 or 50,000, we'd be able to cover this 100% today and complete it. That's the issue right now, is that we're short that 48 to 50. If it was built and we had to pay all the bills today, that's what we would be short. If we had to hire that list that Andrew provided in this memo, if we had to do all that and pay for all that, that's where we would be at that 48 to $50,000. Now, since we've gotten this list, I know I'm personally been reaching out to different construction people that I'm associated with, and I'm confident I'm gonna be able to get some donations of some of this. Others on the committee are gonna be doing the same. These numbers are gonna change over the course of the next few months, but at the same time, it is going to be an issue of the sooner we can actually have a groundbreaking, the sooner we can lock in these donations and see what that shortage is, or maybe there won't be a shortage. We don't know until we actually start construction. So in regards to what you're talking about in that aspect, this is all verifiable stuff that we can show you via the bank statements, everything else, and that should relieve your concerns about the financial side of it. Yes, there is a shortage.
I resent the email that I sent in February.
Your Honor.
Yeah, sorry, I was reading.
So that being said, in regards to the location of this memorial, if we go back to the very beginning, and I don't want to rehash all this, but I guess we have to. The original issue came to this board where Deb and Colonel Heddich came to the board and were asking that we put the memorial in the new park. At that point, it was decided that it was too late to put in that park. We weren't going to do that. And the mayor, along with Deb, and I believe Jay and Paul, and I don't know who else, looked at different properties. And I think Jim Keim, who was the village administrator at the time, was provided and took them on these, showing them the various lots that were available to them to build. And at that time, it was not formalized by the village board, you're correct, but it was decided that that would be the location. The AVM in turn and the village promoted that location for a year and a half at the concerts, talking about that location. And it was really about year two when there was some objection to it at that point. We had more discussions at the board level. Deb and the committee met with Ainsley and others and talked about some of the issues they had at that time. They changed the design, they shrunk it down a little bit, they moved it closer to the road, they did some things to try to ease some of the concerns that were brought up at that time. I believe at that time we were told, and Deb, you can correct me if I'm wrong, from Dennis, that the site that they're talking about now wasn't buildable for this memorial by the water tank. So basically it was gonna be at that site. There was a demand to have a formal vote. We had that vote, and I could be mistaken, Ed, but I'm pretty sure it was a 6-0 vote, and you voted in favor of that location at that time.
No.
Yes, you did.
In what locations?
One at a time, all right.
It was a
No.
unanimous vote.
No.
Right.
It was
Okay.
not. They looked it up.
Over, yeah,
People can verify how I voted,
okay,
and I did not vote for that
I-
location.
I'm pretty
Okay,
sure
so-
you did. We look at
No,
the video.
You are
all right, no
incorrect, sir.
debating, let trustee Luther finish.
So,
We'll go around again.
but basically that was in October. Since that point, Josh has been working on trying to get us the contractors. He wanted to break ground this spring. It's obviously too late to that. So now we're at a location where we're really close to getting this thing done. I'm confident we can make up that shortfall over this course of this summer, especially if we break ground. And now we're looking to rehash an issue that we was debated and researched and looked into exclusively back in September of October of last year. So we're all looking to redo it again and have that same argument. And number one, we don't know if that spot that they're referring to is even buildable or doable there. And I'm concerned with the fact that if we delay this again, We're going to lose some of these donations even further. The money we've raised, we're going to have to go to these people and let them know what's happening, and whether or not they're legitimately or not going to ask for refunds. We've been told by a few that they would. I can't guarantee that they wouldn't, but we've already been spending that money on the monuments and other things that are needed for this project. So we can't just be giving this money back. So we're at a stage right now where the village gave the go ahead on this, whether you voted for it or not, back in October. There's been commitments made based on that commitment of the village to put it in that location. We're now at the point where we're really close to breaking ground and building this thing, and we're having the same arguments that we've had for the last 2 years regarding the location. At some point, we have to move forward and do what we've told the people we were doing and everything else. So in my opinion, it's a matter of, yes, the AVM needs to come up with these additional dollars or the donations for the product or the work. But I think we need to sit there and set a date to get this thing moving. If I understand properly, the permits are already in place. So we're looking to put a complete stop to it. And I think by doing that, we're delaying this project at least another 2 years, just in trying to figure out where it will go and all the arguments, and then raising the money, because it's going to be more expensive next year. It's going to be more expensive the year after that. We have the opportunity now to honor the veterans with a beautiful memorial. We don't want.
Hold on. I already talked about this. No. That's one warning. No more talking from the gallery.
So in my opinion, we're just rehashing old things that really don't need to be rehashed. I have not heard of any new information that's come out regarding this land or anything else that isn't something we've already discussed. So we're just rehashing the same thing over and over again. I'm one board member. If you guys decide that you want to move this thing, great. You guys decide to do that. I think that's a beautiful location for this memorial, especially with what we're talking about doing on Skidmore and the renovation of the band shell property and that parking lot. We've got our new park across the street where kids and families are going to be able to look over there and see it. And hopefully these families can explain to them what it means to these young kids that are at the park. We have the band shell right there. We have the wetlands, and a part of that refiguring of that band shell would be cleaning up that entrance over there, which would make it even more beautiful with the memorial, the wetlands, the band shell. I think this is a great concept and everything else. I agree that there can be differences about where it goes. I get that. But we've had that discussion and extensively. And I feel like we're just, it's Groundhog Day. We're doing it once again. And I just want to get beyond this. I think we need to move forward. But once again, if the board decides that they want to look at different options, then decide so that we can sit there and talk with our donors and see if they're still interested in doing this, and that we can move forward to get this built. Regardless of the location, it's well overdue. I agree with those that came to that board meeting 5 years ago and said that we demanded a better memorial in this town, and I think this does it. And I think we need to get beyond this and work together. If we all worked together on this thing from the beginning, it would have been built a year ago. But because of the infighting and the fighting among others and personalities and clashes and everything else, people didn't want to work together, and I get it. But we're at a point where this thing's ready to be built, and I think I would like to see it move forward, but I'll listen to everyone else's comments.
Steve, okay, no, public comment was already happened. We're gonna have after this another public comment session where you can sign up to. So, but right now, Trustee McNeil, it's your floor.
Just a question for the village attorney. Right now, this is not up for a vote at this moment. This is just a discussion, correct? Committee of the whole, we're just talking. We're not voting on anything.
An excellent question, trustee. So if we read the line item on our section 7C or 7.3, it says update. I think I think if there was a vote on this, it would be a violation of the Open Meetings Act. Traditionally, we don't vote on items in our committee of the whole meeting. So the reasonably prudent person coming to these meetings wouldn't allow for a vote. Actions can be taken procedurally with regards to this, but there's no vote that would be allowed tonight. Final action on this.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it was discussion only, and then I think trustee Bluthart echoed a lot of my thoughts in detail, but I want the veterans to be happy. It makes me sad that they don't want it in this location because I don't think that was any of our intention. We want something that all the veterans will be proud of, and I think the location was chosen because it is central, so we're hoping that we would gain, children coming over and learning about veterans and educating the public. And I know we tried to work with the William Brook Memorial to shrink the size of it so that we're not encroaching upon that and giving the honor to Bill Brook that he deserves. But I thought also, in addition to that, there were some logistical issues with building it over in one of the other proposed locations, such as like sewer mains and water mains. And I know there's been talks about maybe a parking structure and other things that would make it not the right location. I don't know if you can speak to that or Dennis can speak to that or somebody, but I thought there were some important reasons why we really couldn't, without a challenge, put it in the other location. I don't know if you can.
Or let
Yeah.
the village administrator speak to that.
So I've asked the subject matter experts, that question is part of this whole consultation process. So there are logistical concerns there. That is a critical site to the public works. With that said, and I'll go through some of those. With that said, time, money, engineering, can it be done? I mean, the engineers built the Hoover Dam. It can be built, but it takes a lot of resources. That's a critical public works site that we just think would need to be carefully evaluated if that was selected as the site. It is the site of the wells 1, 2, and 6, and we do need access and maintenance to those sites, and we would want to be careful if a memorial was there that how we could access it without damaging a memorial. And there are water mains in that area that we would want to be able to carefully consider that if there was a future water main break, how would we be able to address potentially a large water main break causing erosion without impacting a memorial. So it would also need to be designed from an engineering standpoint. That has not been done. Soil borings have not been done in that area. So there would be lead time to accomplish those tasks. So again, anything can be done with time, money, resources. But there is a long road if we were going to go that way, starting with the engineering and soil boring. Dennis, does that capture it fairly as well? And it's other subject matter experts we spoke to about that.
And let me just for everybody in the crowd too, we flip-flop the meetings tonight. We usually have a regular meeting and the committee of the whole second. This is the committee of the whole meeting, which is just for discussion. There won't be any votes taken on anything tonight regarding this. And after this, immediately after this meeting, or roughly, we talk about e-bikes, which is another fun topic, but we will have like a 5-minute break and then we'll have public comment again before the regular board meeting. So if you're chomping at the bit or whatever, take down notes, and everybody in this room could get their 3 minutes up here. But there will be public comment again before the regular board meeting. Just wanted you to know that logistically. Okay. Anything over here? You don't have, no,
So I don't know if this question would be for Andrew or Dennis or anyone on the AVM, but has an environmental study been done at the Brook site stating that we're talking permits, right? Permits have been issued. So has an environmental study been done that that site is permissible?
Yeah, our understanding at the William E. Brooks site is that the way that it's designed and been engineered right now is the only permit that's required is a village permit. It doesn't encroach into an official wetland or anything that would require permits from outside agencies. So the only permit we need is a village permit issued from our building department in the way that it's currently designed.
The other thing that does come to mind is that again, we talk about this being an inspirational piece, and those that have heard me talk about it is that by the time I joined the board, this site had already been chosen. And what I think of is what has been echoed here on the board consistently is that we talk about the future and we talk about the Skidmore project and how this site it would marry into the Sequoia Creek Park and how we have kids that play at the Sequoia Creek Park. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to inspire the next generation, right? And so this would be in their view on a consistent basis as they are out there playing in the park. And again, we say to ourselves, this is supposed to be the physical embodiment of thank you for your service and inspiring the next generation. With that in mind, I worry that if we pivot to a new location, that we lose credibility with all those contributions. We're talking about close to $250,000 already raised. There's who's to say that we're going to continue to keep those contributors on board the next project if we pivot. Not to say that we would not move forward with something at the tank if feasible, because what also comes to mind is that we have multiple memorials throughout our community. I think of right now at the current Village Hall, the old Village Hall, there's a 6-foot slab of concrete. It's pictured right here on our front page. And I think to myself that if anything, to try to appease everyone and their concerns is, I think we should talk about consolidating those pieces of monuments that we have scattered throughout our community and maybe building something there as well. And that does come to mind when I attended the VFW memorial service this past Monday, where maybe we have something just for our veterans here, Antioch veterans here at the tank site, where we piece together all these scattered monuments throughout the community. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge the efforts that's already been put in by the Antioch Veterans Memorial, and raising $250,000, especially in this economic times, to me, losing the faith of those donors, if we pause and regear, to me, it questions the validity of future projects in our community. And I've also said on many a time where this is a private venture, this is a nonprofit. For me, I've always looked at our parks. We have 25 parks in our community. They all need maintenance. You've heard me say that if we're going to invest money, we have to first invest money in the maintenance of what parks we have already. That's
Excuse me, can I respond to Trustee Martinez? We have discussed the movement of the memorials that are currently in front of the old Village Hall. Because of the future plans for that property, we had planned to move those over to the site that is currently designated for the memorial to incorporate them.
Oh, you don't mind, Mayor? I think that, maybe again, just to come to agreement with the leadership of the American Legion and the VFW, I think if they would agree to helping us with the new development at the tank for those monuments that are already out there, I would encourage that conversation going forward. Thank you.
Trustee Pierce?
This whole discussion tonight just saddens me. It really does. Because I've watched this go on for the last several years. And just real quickly on a brief side note to address the number of monuments, I just recently went to Vicksburg when I could walk. And they have, I think, like 1,300 monuments spread around that area that people walk to and look at and admire and honor the war dead. To me, the more monuments you have, the more spread around they are, the better we are, because it helps everybody everywhere recognize our veterans. But what saddens me is, as I've watched this thing go through, I've watched it destroy a town, not because of the honor of the effort or the honor of the memorial or our veterans, but because two groups have decided that they can't work together. It started off working together. They walked the grounds together with the mayor and Jim Keim and came to a conclusion as to where they would build this. And when they came to the board, for the most part, said, yes, that's a good spot. As part of our envisionment of the future of Skidmore and the future of the Sequoia Creek Park down there, and kids looking over it, as Trustee Trustee Bluthart said. Sorry to compare the two of you. And From there, it's devolved into, in my opinion, two individuals who decided they did not want this unless it was done under their purview. And from there, they've actively worked to obstruct this. And that may be why some of the donations are low. I don't know. Um, I've heard it said that there will never be another veterans event at anything other than the tank because that's what is going to happen. I've also listened to veterans who served their country, whether they were in combat or not, be told that they weren't veterans and they weren't worthy. And I heard this the other night when I went to the American Legion meeting because I wanted to be there since I was in town and see what was going on since I heard they were in need of help and in need of members and nobody was showing up. So I thought I'd show up. And I listened the whole meeting about how terrible the Veterans Memorial was, the Veterans Committee was, the veterans that were involved weren't real veterans. Um, and to me, it was just a continuation of the insults. Um, and I just wished that discussion would end because to me, all veterans are veterans. They've all served their country, some more than others, and some have given their lives for this country. And that's who we should be honoring. Instead, we're out here fighting over this time and time again as to who gets recognition for something that to me is being built in a wonderful spot. I did not know Bill Brook. I will admit that. I did not know him. I didn't grow up here. And I've heard he's done wonderful things for this town. He was an inspiration. And without Bill Brook, this would not be a town. That's what I've heard. Um, the memorial over the last, I saw it after it was built. I did contribute to it. I had the largest boulder moved over there from a developer. But other than that, the memorial's just sat there and festered for these 24, 5 years now. And all of a sudden it's of interest that it's the most beautiful honored spot in town, but it's also a swamp that's a blight and that's terrible. And how dare we honor our veterans over there? But it's also the most honorable place in town. It can't be that. To me, it's part of nature over there. You have the creek that at some point can be cleaned up. You have our Skidmore project. You have the wetlands. Nature's over there. And I remember when they built it, the first time it rained, it flooded and it flooded into the wetlands and all the fish moved in there and they were just all amazed at how the fish moved in there because of the flooding immediately afterwards. And they thought it was a sign. But, you know, from that point, I haven't seen a lot go on there except for people complain about people on the boardwalk tearing it up, kids out there late at night, the garbage out there. And I would, if anything happens, I would encourage the board to enforce a better effort to keep that area clean and honored because to me it's a beautiful location, whether some people want to call it a swamp or not. It's not a swamp to me. It's a part of nature. If you look at the place up by the tank is great, and they've done a lot of hard work around there. They've planted marigolds around it. They've painted it. They've cleaned it up from what it was 5 years ago. Um, but if you go further behind there, we don't know what the future holds for that area. We have a developer that wants to use the parking lot right next to it for his apartments. At some point, we may need to build a parking garage. Somebody may want to develop where the Dunkin' Donuts is and the post office is and the Piggly Wiggly and tear all that stuff down. We don't know what's going to go in there. We don't know the future there. We know the future at the Skidmore property. We know the future at the Brook Memorial. And it has a future that that could be beautiful if we all work together. In this case, we're not going to work together. We're just going to tear each other apart. We're going to have people stand up here making snide comments about veterans, making snide comments about people's finances. I mean, I could make snide comments. I know one veteran was out there raising money, collecting money, has never been held accountable for that money. It's just floating out there somewhere. I don't say who it is. I don't make those comments, but we have people here making comments about people's reputations and who they are. Whether we like it or not, or whether we agree with the thing or not, it's not worth destroying people to decide this thing. And for those who want to destroy everybody, I would say go crawl underneath your rock. Let's build a beautiful memorial. Let's get it done. It's time. And we've just been farting around and arguing and pissing and moaning and doing everything else that we don't need to do. We've made a decision once, we made a decision twice, and we keep coming back to the trough because a certain group doesn't want this. And I know there's a group of veterans that don't want this. A lot of veterans I've talked to say they would prefer the tank, but they've also said, we want it built and we want it built now. We're tired of being jerked around. So that's the input I've gotten from veterans. And that's when I'm over at the VFW almost every Tuesday night, watching only two veterans working their ass off for the VFW. They don't have any other veterans volunteering to be over there, but they got two that work their ass off for the VFW. But they can be here tonight to clap and yell about how they don't want this one, but they want that one, or they want that. It'd be more of an honor to our veterans if you help the veterans, work with the veterans, and support the veterans. So I think it's just time to move forward, get this done, and be over with this thing.
Peterson?
Okay, this is how I feel about this. I did, yes, vote for the location. At the time, I thought that it was not on the Billbrook Wetland Memorial, but it is, in fact, on the Billbrook Wetland Memorial. And when you talk about credibility, what is a memorial? Here we are, 35 years ago, gave Billbrook a beautiful memorial. The bandshell, the wetland, the walk through, the front of it, the bricks, the trees that were planted. It was all the Billbrook Wetland Memorial. I was there at the dedication. But because, and I asked Jim Kine, I said, we can't build it there. That's the Billbrook Wetland Memorial. And he goes, no, it's next to it. And I said, are you sure there's enough room down there? He goes, plenty of room. Well, there isn't plenty of room. And it was the Billbrook Wetland. I was lied to. So that's how it started for me. And we talk about credibility. we put a memorial. How good is a memorial? How long is it good for? 35 years? Because that's about what this is. And if the Billbrook Wetland looks terrible, that's on us. It's on this village. I wasn't on the board for a long time, but you know, I know that the money that we have to spend on the parks and recreation and all the things that we have to do, we're not a park district. We don't have PAX money coming in. So if that Billbrook Wetland Memorial fell apart in the back, well, that's on us. We can't blame that on anybody else. And the trees that are going to have to come down were part of the Billbrook Wetland Memorial. It's right there. You can say it's in front of it all you want. It's on it. And what does it mean for us? We're going to put a Veterans Memorial. Well, what are we going to do in 35 years with the Veterans Memorial? Right now, we've got a tank. We've got a memorial. What are we going to do with that? And they're spread out all over town. I understand all of this. These people are here tonight to ask us to consider moving it to the tank where they want it. I remember, and I'm probably the only person in the room that does remember, but we would block off Toft Avenue for Memorial Day and put chairs in front of the tank right on the street, and everybody would be there. Paul, please. We would have people sitting on the street. We would have an actual Memorial Day celebration right there. That's always been the spot, and we can enhance it. And, you know, really, I understand, Dennis, what you're talking about with the site, that there are things there. We built a $15 million park on a Superfund site. And we spent millions of dollars getting rid of all of that dirt and bringing in the new stuff. And it's a beautiful park. Anything can be engineered, anything can be built. I understand that. It's never too late to do the right thing. It really is never too late. We need to honor William E. Brooke and leave his memorial alone. We really do. There's a lot of people. I know Danny Jaczynski would be here tonight if he was healthy enough to be here. But he was the main person getting that done. He and Claude Lemaire, who is deceased. See, that's the problem. These people are either deceased or too old to be here. And it's sad. You want to see something sad? Bill Brooke built this town. I remember him. I don't know if anybody on this board remembers him or even knew him. I knew him. And I knew his family. And we have to honor that. It's the right thing to do. I know it's going to cost money, but I'm sorry. It's the right thing to do, for God's sake. So I'd like to put on the agenda, on the next agenda, I ask that this be placed on the next agenda. I want this as a binding item for the final action, that this Veterans Memorial be located on village property near the tank. 2 days after Memorial Day, these people are here asking us to put it where they want it. 2 days after Memorial Day. And we're talking about a veterans memorial. They're veterans. I think the least we can do is listen. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay, the Antioch Veterans Memorial is comprised of 8 people. 7 are veterans. 7. We are veterans too.
I understand that. I understand.
Okay. The other thing that oh wait, is it my turn? I understand that there are people in this room that are not happy with the location. I want it to be crystal clear. I did not ask for this location. Period. I asked for property from the village of Antioch, and this is what I was given. I didn't ask for it. It was given.
I never said you did. It was Jim Kine.
I'm making it clear to anyone in this room, everyone in the gallery. I did not ask for this property. It was given by the village of Antioch.
We heard you.
I want to make it crystal clear, trustee.
So clear.
Thank you.
I'm going to go around one more time. I ask it to be, let's say, when I say brief, let's say 5 minutes or less per trustee.
So I just want to make it, I went to Kalamazoo, Michigan. I was driving through the town in Kalamazoo, Michigan. We don't have they don't have boards to sit there and pretend to point out to individuals in the room. What I heard is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I golfed with the Spring Grove trustee, and he said the Antioch board's embarrassing. When you point out 2 trustees and you got one that runs the American Legion and get a half story, and everybody knows it's Jay. Why don't you call him Jay, Scott? It's embarrassing. And the VFW, their membership, they can't even get a quorum for votes. The problem is there's a problem within the membership of every organization. Nobody wants to, they're getting too old to get out of their house. But they're here now. And when you point fingers and make an accusation, well, we got 2 people, we got this. This whole thing became of 2, 3 emails of name calling. And everybody got a personality itch and didn't like it. So then they go after the colonel, and nobody gives that gentleman. I went to high school with him. Our lockers were right next door to each other. to give him where he spent how long? A year? 6 years on combat. And it became
right.
when I heard pissing matches of this and that, and you know, it's just embarrassing. Nobody gives credit for what some of these gentlemen did, um, in Vietnam and whatnot. I'm a child of a World War II Purple Heart. And I was at the VA every Saturday with my dad watching these crazy nut jobs jumping up on desks because they all had wasn't PST. It was called shell shock back then. And I went through that every time the TV came on. Walter Cronkite, I got a shoe thrown at me, change the channel. When my dad just about went nuts. And I'll tell you a story that I went through growing up. If you watch The Pacific, it's on HBO. The first episode is where my dad was shot, and they shot everybody in his unit. He played dead, and he was the only one in his unit survived. That's what he had to go. He was in the hospital for over a year with a gunshot through the belly. So anybody says they know it, they don't know it. They don't know the experiences. They don't know. And I didn't serve as a vet. I served other ways because of my back, so I served in the rescue squad. And I saw death. I seen it left and right, so I can understand, but what these guys have seen a little bit, not a lot. I saw it the other way trying to bring it, but my dad was a medic, so he didn't want me to do what I did, but I did it for free. I served this town for free. So I just don't like the back and forth name calling. I respect the people that served, and it just needs to stop. These guys came here, like Mary said, after Memorial Day. They don't want it there. I don't know of a vote that came from the American Legion. I don't know of a vote that was official through the VFW. I never heard it. They should have brought their vote. Now I do know that Lyle had a bunch of signed forms that was dropped off here. You got some that he got a bunch of signatures from different vets that can't be here today. And those weren't presented. Those should be presented as part of the meeting. Because he went out and got 200, how many signatures did you get? 200 signatures? But that's the unheard vet that didn't want to come to the meeting, but they put their name on a form that they did not want at that location to give their voice. And those people should be considered. And this name calling just gotta gosh darn stop. It's just ridiculous jealousy. I don't know if it's jealousy, but it's something. So I'm not going to vote anywhere except, and I second what Mary said. It's got to be done. We got to put a time limit on it. Move it to the tank. That's where it should be. It's by the post office, by the fire department, it's by the police department. It just makes sense to put it by the people who serve and risk their lives every day.
My question is this, trustee Peterson, and I respect your comments, and you could tell it's heartfelt, and I appreciate that. But my question is this, we don't know if that site's buildable. So my question would be to the administrator, to Dennis, what will it cost to do a study to see if that site is even buildable? Number one. A
There was a
realistic.
house on that site at one point.
We want to, we don't know if there's a foundation in the ground, but think we could find out.
Right, I mean,
Then a foundation could be removed
Foundation would have to be removed.
in an afternoon with big machines.
but my objection to that type of motion where we're talking about making it a final and direct thing is, what if it's not buildable? Or what if the cost is so high that we're now making choices of as trustee Martinez said, not doing park repairs or something just because we need to remove a foundation or do things at that site. My concern with that is if we do a study and find out that we're gonna have to spend quite a bit of money to do that study. Then if we find out there's another big cost to it to get it there, how long is that going to take? Based on these other studies we've done, we're delaying this another year or two minimum. Now we're adding costs and everything else that we're fighting for right now at the village level to do the things we need to do that need to be done all over town. So once again, I don't have a problem looking at that site if that's what the board wants. But to make it where it's either there or it doesn't happen, I object to that because if that site's not feasible, it's great to talk about it, but if it's not feasible financially or anything else, then what do we do then? And we have to have this discussion again about where it moves to. Or where are we going to put it and when are we going to do it and so on. So that would be my only concern with what you talked about is by making it so concrete that if we decide to go that route, that it has to be there. What if anything's doable? But like you said, we spent $15 million to remediate all the soil and stuff over at this creek. Are we going to spend $5 million, $10 million to do a little site? I mean, I know it won't be that much. I'm exaggerating the cost, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
you are.
this, but it's still going to cost quite a bit. We know anything is going to be $50,000, $100,000 minimum. And especially if we're talking about moving pipes and doing things like that. So that's my only concern is by that type of motion where you're locking it into that site, you're putting us in a situation that this could kill this project if that site's not buildable.
Well, then if it's not buildable, there could be another site. Along 59, our park right there. My point is, it should be done right. It should be done right the first time.
Rebecca, do you have anything else to add?
My only other comments, again, echo trustee Bluthart's, which is that if I didn't even know that this was up for discussion to talk about moving it. I thought it was more about the fundraising tonight because we had already voted on it. So I was surprised and not prepared to give comments about moving. But if I was going to consider moving it, I agree with trustee Bluthart. I would have to see, lands, ground studies, environmental testing, all of the things that would go into it. And certainly it could be considered, but I just don't know that we have the funds to do that. As trustee Peterson said, and Bluthart, we spent 15 million. We don't have another 15 million to spend as much as we'd like to, if that's what the majority wanted. So I'm not necessarily opposed, but I feel like we've made so much momentum and it's beautiful. And I was with trustee Peterson, I think when Dennis spray painted it, and I don't feel like it's completely taking away from the William Brook. We all looked at it. Yes, it does touch it, I believe, right? And we've shrunk it down a little bit, but I would just have a hard time making any sort of final decision, like Bluthart said, unless we saw information about what it would cost to consider the tank location or any other location. I just can't make a decision without information about that. That's all I have.
Again, I echo back what everyone else here on the board is stating that, we have a funding issue. And this was always looked at as a private endeavor. And I always looked at it as a private endeavor. I really don't have any say, especially once the site was already selected. At the same time, if we are talking about pivoting to another location, be it the tank site, then we're talking about allocating public funds into a private endeavor. And I have a hard time with it, not knowing what those figures are going to amount to be. I guess we could ask staff to start looking into what environmental impact studies we would have with the tank site if that's something that maybe we want to consider for our next possible vote. But as of right now, I've looked at this from the start as this is a private endeavor. It does not involve additional government money and municipal money, and this is the public money, right? And so I also look at it that they're 20% short. They're $45,000 roughly short. that money, when you already have raised $227,000, to me, I'm like, that 20% could be easily accomplished if we gave them enough time to do so. So.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk because I may hurt feelings. I don't know. Um, First of all, I want to say something to Colonel Paul Heddick. I honor the 6 years you did in combat. I honor the effect that it's had on your life and how it's impacted you and impacted your family. To me, there's no greater gift to a country than what you have performed. That being said, I'm also a veteran and I have a voice and I'm allowed to speak. And you may laugh, Trustee Masek, but I am a veteran and you are not, no matter how much you claim your dad's
You're just
glory.
cutting people down. You just cut me down.
Okay.
You cut him down, then you made yourself.
I didn't cut him down.
Trustee Pierce has the floor.
If I was, and as I've been told, I'm the hair on a pimple's ass by one of the members of this audience. If I was a veteran and I had an area and they wanted to put a memorial either touching me or slightly on me or nearby me, I would be honored. It would be an honor that they would think that my area was special enough that I could have a memorial there. So I have a different viewpoint. I think that's a beautiful area. I think it's an honor. And I think all this turmoil has been generated that shouldn't have been generated. And it's just time to move forward. And so if the board decides to put it on the agenda for authorizing movement or to studying the movement, I think the board also needs to put on the agenda that there is a vote to direct the administrator to issue the permits and get this started so they can finalize their fundraising and get this item done. And to, I don't think we have hundreds of thousands or thousands or a million to build on a new piece of property. I don't think we have time to delay. I don't think we have time to go to all the donors and say, well, what do you want to do with the stuff you've already donated, we've already bought? Do we sell it back? Do we sell it to the new veterans group that's going to build this? Or the stuff just going to be put in storage somewhere because it belongs to AVM. It doesn't belong to the village except for the Eagle. Somebody has to reimburse somebody somehow. So that's an additional cost. And the whole thing gets messy if you start moving it at this point.
Trustee Peterson, and then Ms. Renner, I'll give you the last word, and then we'll move on to the next item. Trustee Peterson?
Um, I, I understand that you're thinking we're out of time, but there's always time to do the right thing. And I understand that you're saying you would be honored to have another memorial put on your memorial. Bill Brooks' family does not agree with that. Bill Brook was a wonderful man, and this town gave him a memorial, and we were all there. And 25 years later, here it is. We're going to put another memorial on it. It's wrong. And his family feels like that. And I'm sorry, I do too. So that's how I feel. It's never too late to do the right thing. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Ms. Rentner, thank you. Takes a lot of courage to stand up there too, so I
It's
appreciate it.
okay, but I came here tonight for guidance on groundbreaking. I don't have any. And again, I'm in limbo. And I've been in limbo for several years. I have people who have donated. They want answers. Where are we at? I,
So
it's confusing.
yeah, like I said, there's not a consensus. I can see, some, I think what needs to happen next is, because there's no action being taken tonight, I have to meet with the probably administrator and legal and contractors and public works and discuss next steps and permits. Jimmy, I don't know if you have any comment on it, but I think that's probably, and then whatever comes back next week, whether it's a committee of the whole discussion or in 2 weeks, or a vote as requested by the trustee, you have to just ask what the legalities of that are. So that's probably the next step on this.
Yeah, the mayor's right. I mean, I understand your desire for finality, but two trustees asked for two motions under Illinois state law. They have a right to put that on the agenda. This was not the first thing that was said here tonight was no final action vote would be taken. It's an update on a traditionally non-voted upon call called the committee of the whole. So while I always like finality in things, none can be given tonight.
That's fine. I was just looking for some guidance, not a vote, not anything
Clear as mud.
legal
Yeah.
finality or anything else.
Okay.
And one final thing. I too knew Bill Brook, Mary, trustee Peterson, I'm sorry. And he was a fine man. I've said it. I won't say it again. I didn't choose the property. We went ahead and spent money and time and effort on a memorial for that site because that's what the village said. This is it. So that's what we did.
That's why I'm asking this board to reconsider it, because the village did that.
Okay. Jim Kime's not here, so he can't defend himself.
And
So
I hate when we're talking about stuff that's
yeah,
not-
so as far as moving it to the tank, I'll be honest. At this point, I don't give a damn. I'm tired of it. 20 years I've been trying to do this. I have all the respect in the world for these men. I think it's mostly men back here from the VFW. I don't I don't disrespect them. Have I had a conflict with a couple? Yeah. It's personality. Yeah, I've had a conflict with them, but that doesn't mean I disrespect any of them. Majority of them have never, ever taken the time and come to talk to me. Never. So I don't know where they stand. I can only hear through rumors. And now tonight, clapping and hooting and hollering. And that's fine. Yeah, I said hooting and hollering.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
One more time.
Sure.
I did speak to Clem, and Clem, thank you. I met with Clem. I met with Clem. Clem and I walked both properties. We discussed like civil humans. I should be talking to everybody, not just Mary, or Trustee Peterson. We discussed everything like civil humans. We parted with a hug and a kiss.
All right. I think let's move on. Yeah. Let's.
Okay,
All right. Yeah.
as are you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Well, all right. All right, guys, come on. All right. All right, guys. Okay, sit down. Come on. All right, guys. Okay. All right. Well, last time I said the Cubs are up 3-0. It was immediately 3-3, but they are up 10-4 now. So I'll let you guys. So hopefully they don't come back again. So we need a little. Yeah, they can't lose 11 in a row. The last time they won, I think we started voting on this Veterans Memorial. So we have another item for discussion, which is e-bikes, right?
So just a quick update, if I may.
Yeah.
We were looking at this, we're really following the state's lead, and really the update is this started as a Senate Bill 3336. It has since moved to the House. The House has 3 amendments so far as they debate this. It's second reading. That still has to come up for a third reading. Even after that, it will go back to the Senate and then to the governor. So I think with all that said, right now the wait and see approach is probably the best approach from a staff perspective. We were trying to mirror the state legislation, and we just simply can't do that as it keeps evolving.
And that note, I know that the Secretary of State is pushing heavily for this to be enacted in law by January 1st. There's been some talk about that going to July 1st, 27. So we'll keep you the update, but it's that and the build and uh, the Bears stuff is all kind of consuming Springfield right now. So, and they usually get it wrong anyway. So we'll see what happens.
Comment
Yeah,
on that too.
yeah.
Is it possible to do any sort of maybe through the police public safety on the e-scooters? Because I was pulling out of the gas station on 83 and a girl, probably 8 or 9 years old, just flying down the sidewalk. And I'm afraid I almost hit her and I'm a very cautious driver. And I'm worried that if we don't do something or say something, someone's going to die. And most other communities have put something in place. I know that we want to wait for the state and it seems redundant, but after that experience where I was this close to her whipping around going, who knows how fast, I'm terrified that a child's going to die this summer due to these
And I
e-bikes.
get it. And, we have as your criminal plug ears, as you know, we have, we're short staffed on some officers. We've had some laterals. We've had some, people go out. So again, like the education, I agree. These kids, it's like sometimes, you know, parents have to take some responsibility for these kids. And it's like, you got to get the parents these memos that, one of your kids can get killed on these
I know
things.
Gray's Lake outright banned them, and I hate to be, Captain No Fun, but I'm just very concerned after they're buzzing down 83 with semi trucks and cars in and out, no helmet, no lights. They're young.
I saw kids doing wheelies on 59 in the unincorporated part of the village, so yeah, it's just all over the place.
Put a Facebook campaign.
Yeah,
out
we gotta
for
do something.
instance, Just ask
Yeah.
the parents to get them helmets.
Education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Let's
did
say
that,
we
we did that with the
want
Narcan, we did that with, flushable wipes at one point, so I think we could do it on
And
this
maybe
one too.
there's supposed to be any bikes or scooters on sidewalks, period, under our ordinance now. Is that correct? So maybe they shouldn't be in the downtown anyways, whether they're e-bikes or pedal bikes, just for safety. I don't know if trustee Masek knows or the chief or police.
You can't keep them out of the park.
Hold on. We got that.
I know,
We did meet with, yes.
That's part of the concern is what the state was considering in the Senate bill preempted the municipality, so we weren't able to do anything, which was why we said, let's wait and see, let's mirror what they were doing, but now that's evolving too, so we're not even sure if there will be a preemption anymore.
Trustee Bluthart?
You kind of touched on it, but I was gonna ask you, have we had a lot of incidents this summer already regarding e-bikes, or you just kind of touched on it now, but has there been any injuries or accidents that you can report on?
No injuries, but we have received several complaints about the neighborhoods we trust.
You know, I'm not gonna be riding a bike for a while, so I shouldn't participate, I guess, but there's some kids, you watch them, their parents bought them this $1,500 little e-motorcycle. They're riding slowly up the side of the road with their helmet on, with their fishing poles and their fishing nets, and they're going on the side of the road and they go off and they go fishing. They come back with their fish and they're proud of themselves. And you're like, I remember the days when I was a kid. And there's other kids on the same type of e-bike, e-motorcycle really, that are doing wheelies 100 miles an hour and they're swerving in and out of traffic. They're any flat piece of pavement they can find, they're swirling around the cars, it's just out of control. But I want that kid who's going fishing and doing something positive in his life to be able to do that. But I don't know how to fairly do it other than enforce the law. And if you try to enforce the law, the parent who spent $1,500 on this little mini motorcycle for their kid is screaming at you, which I feel sorry for the police.
Okay. Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Excuse me, Officer Smith, no one can hear you online.
There.
No one.
Once the state comes out with the law and we have some direct guidance, we would be able to.
Use my mic.
Do some kind of public campaign and education, because there's a lot of kids that do the right thing on those bikes. I do see it too.
I mean, the kids that are going down Main Street are not, but the ones in the subdivisions, they're fine. So we will work on it once we get some direction from the state.
All right, thank you. And then we'll make sure we'll work with our media team to get some public posts out there. There's a discussion regarding amendments to the golf cart regulations.
Wait,
yeah.
the-
Yeah,
I want to say something
E-bike,
about the
yeah,
e-bikes. I've witnessed in several neighborhoods that the kids are going right down the middle of the road, not stopping at stop signs. And when they come around a corner, it happened to me, I almost hit one. I was making my turn. I looked, I didn't see anyone. And he came around from behind me and went around me and cut me off as I was going forward, and it's from a stop sign. So that happened in a neighborhood. So I'm just saying,
But
Yeah.
why are the kids gonna stop and their parents don't stop? I can show you the videos on my camera
Oh.
that every day the parents are just right through the stop signs, that the parents aren't stopping, the kids aren't stopping, it's an education thing, I think.
I just wanted to
Piece of
say
horse.
that.
Sure.
Let's
Yeah.
keep the horse.
What are we changing on the golf carts again?
So the golf carts is just two simple requests that staff's recommending the board consider. First is right now the golf carts are seasonal. There's a seasonal limitation on that. We can't predict the weather here, and we're just saying we eliminate the seasonality. We have nice weather days and nice community events in March that you right now would not be allowed to ride your golf cart to. We see people doing it. It's hard to enforce, and so we're suggesting that if it's safe roadway conditions and roadways are passable and you want to go on your golf cart, go for it. And so we're proposing that the board consider eliminating that seasonality piece of it and let the driver decide if it's safe to be in a golf cart or not. The second is to just clarify that really in the definitions that the golf cart and the authorized operation on village streets is for golf carts equipped with 4 wheels. So we've been seeing more and there's trends to purchase items with 3 wheels. We think they're inherently less stable, have a harder time passing over the conditions of our roadways at times. So we would like to just clarify that in the ordinance that the golf cart is a 4-wheel operation, the 3-wheelers would not be allowed. So if there's discussion or direction on that, we could bring back an amended ordinance for the board to consider. This is just discussion again tonight.
I've opened up this doorway, but I've had several people ask me in the last couple of weeks, utes and ATVs. Is there any interest in those? I have no interest, but I've been asked, so I'm conveying it.
Yeah, I don't think.
Not from staff's perspective.
All right. Any other business for the committee of the whole? All right, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn this committee of the whole meeting to a 5-minute recess.
So
Trustee
moved.
Peterson. Oh, I should vote. Trustee, couldn't wait to get out of here. Trustee Martinez has a second. Roll call, please.
Mason. McNeil.
Yeah.
Martinez.
Yes.
Pierce. Peterson.
Yes.
All right. We're gonna take a 5-minute, well, let's come back at 8:10, and then we will do public comment again. If anyone wants to sign up, the sign up sheet is right here. All right, we're gonna call this meeting to order at 8:17, way past what I said. Roll call, please.
Trustee Mason. Trustee Bluthart.
Here.
Trustee McNeil.
Here.
Trustee Martinez.
Here.
Trustee Pierce.
Here.
Trustee Peterson. Mayor Gartner.
Present. And one thing I was gonna bring up, no, I can't remember. All right, well, if I remember, I had one thing that I forgot to say last time that was important, but I'll think of it. Public comment, we had some people sign up, so I'll have the clerk read the rules for public comment.
The opportunity to speak to the board is provided for members of the public who have a comment to make about the business of the board. The board appreciates hearing from stakeholders and values your thoughts and questions. The board strives to make the best decisions for the village, and public input is very helpful. The board must protect the civility and decorum of this meeting. Please be respectful for the duties of the board and the democratic process in your comments tonight. Please state your name and address your comments to the board. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please be factual and courteous, and the board requests that you not make statements that are personally disrespectful or condescending to members of the board or staff. To the extent multiple speakers are addressing a single issue, The mayor reserves the right to limit the number of speakers making public comment of a repetitive nature and or limit the amount of time for public comment. The board does not respond to comments or attempt to answer questions during the public comment period. First, we have Jay Joswiak.
Jay Joswiak, 60 Hennings Court, Antioch. So I really wasn't going to speak tonight, but then I think I have to. And I guess I appreciate, Mr. Pierce, that you called me out on whatever you said it was. It was improper to begin with, but the fact is, it's not two people that stirred this thing up and started it. Okay? And the fact still stands that I spent all summer working to help support the memorial. Every Thursday night, I stayed out with my wife on the Thursday night concerts. And every night that we had a concert, all I did was said, all the monies goes to the same place. It makes no difference who you give it to. Never badmouthed anybody, never did anything to discourage anybody from giving. So I really don't appreciate your comments. So anyways, so as far as the village stuff that we don't seem to be doing, we had poppies over the weekend. We were able to put 700 flags on all of the vets for Memorial Day. You know, we donated $1,000 to the high school so kids can learn about the government and travel down south to Springfield where we pay for that. So we're still doing our piece. There's a little bit of a disconnect. There's some separations in the village. There's separations in the veterans. Because you got a beef with me, take it up. I mean, I have a beef with the mayor now and then. We settle it. So at least do that. At least have the guts to do it. So anyways, that's all I want to say is that we do more. It's not a two-guy fight because these ain't all my brothers from my same mom or dad. So, you know, get your facts right before you speak. Thank you, board. No response needed.
Fine dinner.
Alice Burnett.
I speak, but my name's Alice Burnett, and I listened to this whole thing. Down?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Okay, I listened to this whole thing going on. I've been to a lot of these board meetings. And I just wanted to say, you're worried about donations. I'm sorry, this is kind of hard for me. There's a lot of people, including myself, that's a daughter of a vet. And I would love to give money to a place that and honor my dad. But Bill Brook was very important to our family. And my dad would not want it on Bill Brook's memorial. So I haven't given any money, and I don't think I'm the only one. So when you're talking about not getting the funds, I do believe there's a lot of us out there that do believe that if it's in the right place to honor the people, that they would give money. And I hate to see all this bickering because, you know, the vets did serve, and we really should honor them. And I'm sorry I'm emotional, but it's very dear to my heart to honor my dad the way he'd want to be honored. So just think about that when you're thinking about not having enough money. There are other people out there that haven't given yet, and I'm sure the right people, including probably people behind me, can work on getting the money to put it where they want it. And I'm sorry that I knew I couldn't do this. I didn't plan on it, okay? So I'm sorry for that, but I hope you take that into consideration. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you. PJ Delp.
Hello, I'm PJ Delp. I'm part of AVM board. I'm a board member at AVM, but tonight I'm supporting everyone, every single veteran, every family member of the Brooks, and basically say my piece and clear the air. So I am a disabled combat veteran. There's some people in this room that doesn't believe that at all. That's their opinion. I respect it. Okay. They have beef with me, but no one's ever came and talked to me. Okay, so I was stationed in Fobshank, Afghanistan. Excuse me, I hate talking in front of people. I served at Fobshank, Afghanistan, aka Rocket City. I have been hit pretty close by mortar rounds. I have a combat action badge. I wanted to retire. That was my goal, but I couldn't because when I went to Afghanistan, I got injured and I couldn't complete. Yes, I'm fat, okay? I'm fat, but I passed my PT test. There's an individual behind me that sent a letter, an email to the village stating that I don't deserve to be on this board. Everything that this individual typed out was incorrect. Not once has he ever came and apologized, come say it to my face, but I respect that. I respect that he got his word out about me. It's cool. So, my thing here is, why is it that my veteran status is not just as important as everyone behind me? Excuse me, it shouldn't be?
You should
Okay.
consider.
Okay.
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay. I'm sure Ed's probably said things about me, and I respect that. I also respect you both saying no. I just got done talking to Mary. Sweet lady. We just met. I respect her decision, no. I respect everyone else's that says yes. I respect Ansley. If we, again, yes, I support AVM, but I'm for all veterans. All veterans. Even Heather, Jay, everyone that's behind me that has said something bad about me. I'm for it. So basically, I'm here to say my piece, clear my name. I'm very friendly. One day, we had a Thursday, I think it was like last summer. AVM was sitting up there. Ansley had her booth. I felt terrible. I felt terrible that I was trying to raise money for AVM while Ansley was up there. Lakes, right? Or the historical? Terrible. I wanted to leave. I left early and I donated out of my pocket $100. And I told her and gave her a hug and said, if I would have known you were here, I would have never showed up for AVN. I would have showed up to support you and listen to the music because you guys always perform really well. You guys pick phenomenal bands. I felt bad because I believe every organization, doesn't matter what organization it is, deserves to be heard. Through the meeting, first time I met, I'm going to, what's your name? Lloyd? Boyd? What? I was kind of close. Yeah. I personally thanked him for those signatures because it is very important to be a voice for the ones who can't show up, whether you disagree or agree with them. I support that. And the fact that they're disagreeing with the location that AVM has, I'm all for their voices and I will also stand next to them because they deserve to be heard also. So, with that being said, everyone behind me, people who were here earlier that stated no, I respect that. You do have a voice, you have a reason. We're all adults here. I'm not gonna lie, you guys all know my name. I disrespected people. I've apologized. I'm young and dumb. That's the best I can say. But just come to me, have a conversation. Let's talk it out. So, and I know I'm probably running over. I like to ramble. The positive note from this is I have learned so much about Ansley's dad, correct? I'm getting there. Ansley's dad, to where it makes me emotional because he sounds like a phenomenal guy. I'm not from here. I moved here 10, 15 years ago. First park I went to was that park downtown. Beautiful. I photographed it. I still have the photos. Beautiful park. So, again, you guys, I support. Whether we do that or not, I just want to get this done and over with so all of us veterans of the community can come together. So, that's it. Thank you.
Ainsley Wenderling, 41413 North Surrey Drive. First of all, I have a golf cart question. Are they supposed to wear seatbelts in golf carts? Yes, because all of them that I see in town, nobody's wearing seatbelts unless it's just a lap seatbelt. And it looks
Not
very,
required.
it's not required to have any seatbelt?
You have to have them in the cart, but you're not required to wear them.
Okay, talk to Chuck after the meeting. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, why is that? Because it looks very dangerous. Okay.
State of Illinois doesn't require it.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, so I have a bunch of disjointed notes and I'm just gonna throw them out there. When the wetlands were constructed, it was a conservation area. It's still a conservation area. You're not conserving the conservation area. It was an educational facility. There was signage all the way through the park telling you about the birds and the animals and the fish that you might see. And all those signs were taken down by Mr. Kime several years ago because we have some at the Historical Society because they weren't taken care of and they fell apart. So you're right, that is on the village because they did not take care of the wetlands. So that's the first thing I want to say about that. The calling the ABM or the new memorial or whatever a private endeavor, if the village has already donated $50,000 and they're not at their goal, they're looking for more money from the village. So it's not a private endeavor when and the tax dollars are going toward this memorial. Oh, and short 2,000 bricks and you're charging $250 a brick. Is that what a brick costs? A donation of $250. But that, now it's 250 times 2,000 is a lot of money. Where the green space is between the tank and the post office, there are no pipes under that ground because
Ainsley,
it's a house.
Ainsley, address the board, please.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
There, because there was a house there, you have a picture of it in that packet. Not a very clear picture. It was a little white frame house. So that lot should be clear. Whether there's a foundation there or not, I don't know, but the whole place was raised. I was told that by putting the memorial in the wetlands, it would be a place of reflection and meditation and whatever. So then why would you build it across from the loudest part of the park where the kids are all screaming and hollering? And so if anybody does want to go over there and reflect on what's going on, that's not a good spot. That's just another reason to not build it there. If it's been 2 years or 10 years or 20 years that this has been worked on, if you table it for the next meeting or vote on it for the next meeting, what's another year? You're not going to lose these donors. You're not going to lose these donors, not the big gun ones. Well, you might get a lot more donors if it was constructed over by the tank. I personally feel like Alice, I will not give 10 cents to put it in the wetlands. But if you put it over here, you might get a donation. Am I out of time? Debbie said she needed an answer about groundbreaking. The answer is that the vets do not want it at this location in the wetlands. The vets want it by the tank. Getting back to, like I said, this is very disjointed and I apologize for that. When the soil borings were done, it was for the other to the west, when the monument was to the west. I would like to know what the Army Corps of Engineers thinks when you're 11 feet on an incline from the embankment of Sequoia Creek. This is going to collapse. It's, I think you need to have that reevaluated, and the Army Corps' rationale is also on the back of that document that I gave you. So they may have to be called in. The fact that you were lied to by Jim Kime, I can understand that. And that's wrong. If plans are to green space over Skidmore, then you've got a whole lot more space right here to put the monument if you don't want it by the tank, where people can walk to it and you know it's underneath the ground because it's all in the records. One other thought, where did it go? Oh, the tank park, as people call it, or is actually the Village Veterans Memorial Park. So it has been that way for 89 years. They had the first Memorial Day parade there in 1937. There were 2 Civil War vets who were still present. They would have a march from either the high school or from the grade school over to the monument where they would have their program, and all the soldiers would march and they would all speak. So we have a Village Veterans Memorial Park, and you'll see that in the newspaper articles. Oh, the people that got the flash drives the other day. And I can provide those for anybody. So what are you going to call this? Village Veterans Memorial Park 2? Because there is already a Village Veterans Memorial Park. So I think you would get a lot more money if you moved it out of the wetlands, and that's the way I feel for numerous reasons. And there's a whole list on that page. There's no good reason to put it here, but there's a whole list of good reasons to put it over by the tank. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me? Excellent. That's the way I always like to start my speeches. First of all, thank you, Ed and Mary, for your incredible, heartfelt words. You could have spoken at one of our former Memorial Day services. It was that good. So thank you very much. Jose, thank you for your upfront strategic thinking in your comments. I think unfortunately some of these decisions were made when you weren't on the board. And we would only respectfully request that you reconsider perhaps some of what you're hearing tonight from some of those in the back of our room, when unfortunately you were not serving on this board. But I do want to recognize you and thank you, and also thank you for the idea of doing something with the other memorials, such as the one that's left in front of the Village Hall. You know, I said to many of my fellow veterans in this room that I would never, ever stand in front of this board again. I did 32 years of service, 5 combat tours, earned 2 Bronze Star medals. I didn't get those for showing up. I stood here 10 years ago with many in this room requesting that a memorial be built in the park. And we listened to Jim Keim say it couldn't be done, even though no shovel had ever broken any ground. But I also remember to this day, and this will be an educational moment, if you see a soldier standing in a dress uniform, wearing ribbons and medals, those ribbons and medals don't belong to that soldier. Those ribbons and medals belong to that soldier's soldiers. Those medals and ribbons I wear in my uniform aren't mine. The Bronze Stars are not mine. Those medals, I didn't write them up and recommend myself for those awards. Those came from my soldiers, some of whom are dead, some of whom don't have any frickin' legs. And yet I stood here in front of this board with Brent and Scott, raising your voice to me in disrespect. I will never forget that. Even with my traumatic brain injury, I will never forget the disrespect to me and my soldiers in that uniform. Unacceptable. John Mathesis sent a letter, and some of you voted for him. John Mathesis is gone. He resigned as a fact from the VFW in March. He moved to Michigan in April, and he had a meeting with Trustee Masick. I'm going to call him Ed because we went to high school together.
Next.
He told Ed he was moving to Michigan.
Oh, he
And
denied it.
Who denied it? Well, he's gone. And that's the vote you guys took, and you accepted his word over everybody here. Last week's American Legion, you heard Scott Pierce mention it. Well, according to our minutes, and I think I've got Jay and Mike, O'Meara, John Granfield. I think, Scott, we were all very surprised that you show up, because usually you show up only when it's election time, but you showed up. We were trying to corner you. You're a trustee. We were interested in where you stood. In our minutes, and I have it written here, you said that you were leaning in favor of moving the memorial to the tank. Now, maybe my traumatic brain injury, maybe, I don't know, maybe I didn't hear that right, because I still go to therapy for that. But I think I can reach out to maybe Mike, maybe John. I think they're going to agree with me. But I guess you changed your mind tonight. An eagle sculpture. Let's talk about that. I'm laughing about it because an eagle, and this is another educational moment because I love education. An eagle is a rank worn by a Navy captain or an Army colonel. Nobody else. So you guys got an eagle sculpture, and in theory, those of us who served in the military, we're going to see that eagle and we're going to think Army colonel, me, or a Navy captain. Bill Brook. See, Ed and me, we've been in Antioch a long time with a lot of others here. Bill Brook was a cornerstone of this community. I'm an Eagle Scout. My brother also fought in the war, Eagle Scout, earned the Air Medal, V device for being an Apache gunship pilot, also an Eagle Scout. My son, Joseph, just finished his Eagle Scout project, redoing the Scout House. And thank you to trustee Jose Martinez for being his advisor, as well as for your financial contribution. But I recognize this and say this because Bill Brook taught me so much. It was so involved with the scouting program in all of Antioch. And if it wasn't for Bill Brook, you wouldn't have half the scouts that you have in this community. And I guarantee you wouldn't have my brother, an Eagle Scout, a combat war hero, and you wouldn't have me because of Bill Brook. Army Corps of Engineers. You may want to contact them. I worked a lot with them in Iraq. We already contacted them. You may want to do the same thing. So in conclusion, you have sitting in this room, everybody, to include a lot of people not sitting here who we have signatures for, who want the tank at the memorial. As Mary said, Ed said it, Jose, you inferred it. Why are we questioning some dollars to be spent perhaps on some concrete and some pipes, I guess? It's been over 10 years. Haven't been able to put a shovel in the ground. I think we can figure a way to get to yes. And that's one thing they taught us in combat as commanders. Let's find a way to get to yes, as long as it's safe, moral, ethical, and legal. So in conclusion, I ask all of you to consider everybody who has spoken, but most importantly, to consider this entire group of people who continue year after year after year to show up to try to press for something that shouldn't be that hard. All you need to do is say yes. Thank you.
Thank you, all of you, for speaking tonight. We have 3 items on the consent agenda. Do we have any requests to remove any of those items from the consent agenda? If not, I'd ask for a motion and a second on the consent agenda. Motion trustee Bluthart.
Second.
Second trustee Peterson. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Neil?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Pierce?
Aye.
Peterson?
Yes.
Voting yes, motion carries. On the regular business, item 4 is consideration and approval of payments of accounts payable as prepared by staff in the amount of $551.87. Do I have a motion and a second?
So move.
Motion trustee Peterson, second trustee Martinez. Any discussion on this? All right, roll call, please.
Mason,
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Pierce.
Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
Just voting yes, motion continues. Next item is,
Wait a second, motion approved.
I'm sorry.
You said continues.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm on to the next one. Sorry. The motion's approved regarding the payables. Item 5 is consideration and approval of an ordinance authorizing and approving a redevelopment agreement by and between the Village of Antioch, Illinois and Brown 173 LLC. They're asking for a motion to continue this to the June 10th meeting. Is that my understanding? So I have a motion and a second to continue this. Motion trustee
Second.
Bluthart. Yeah, second trustee McNeil. So this is a motion to continue the June 10th meeting.
For the marketing.
Marketplace, the final RFP.
I was gonna bring this up for just discussion for the marketing group for.
This is marketplace, right?
Well, yeah, right, same
But
thing.
if there's a motion to table, trustee, can we talk about it after?
Yeah, go ahead, let's.
Okay.
let's-
Do the roll call, please.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
Voting yes, motion carries. You guys talking?
Yeah, we'll talk after. You want to talk in the break? Like, we're going to close, so.
6 is consideration and approval of a supplemental.
Had to do with the vote.
Oh, had to do the vote. Go ahead.
Well, just to help the marketplace is we got all those stinking cars parked in the easement to help get that vote done, everything, finalized. You've got cars now parked up and down Brown. Just looks kind of silly.
You're 100% right. There are cars. They line what the road.
Yeah,
is.
he's really taking advantage of that and to help the negotiations move along. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Next is consideration and approval of supplemental annual appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year ending in April 30th, 2026. Do I have a motion and a second?
So move.
Motion trustee Peterson, second trustee Martinez. A roll call, please.
Mason,
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Pierce.
Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
Voting yes, motion carries. Last item was discussed earlier, the consideration and approval of an ordinance acknowledging potential changes in the liquor license classes for certain liquor licensees operating in the Village of Antioch. Do I have a motion and a second?
So move.
Motion trustee Peterson,
Second.
second trustee McNeil.
We did second reading. I was waiving the second reading, trustee.
Second reading, sorry.
It's not on there. Okay. Should there be an ordinance number or no? No. Okay.
It's not required.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what threw me off. I usually use the
Sorry,
ordinance
I
number.
apologize.
Okay.
It's my
So
fault.
motion and a second waiving the second reading. All right. Roll call, please.
Mason,
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Pierce.
Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Administrators report.
Okay, just a couple of brief comments. Thank you, Mayor and Board. So the village is participating in the Safe Routes to School program. We're doing that along with School District 34 and District 117. This is a free national program designed to make walking and biking to school safer and more accessible. It aims to improve health and ease traffic congestion near school zones. It's a program that's managed by IDOT. It's a multi-month program. It began in April and it'll culminate this fall with a community travel plan. It's a large document that will outline infrastructure recommendations, and really it sets up the village to be a strong candidate for future grant applications that would be funded through IDOT. So we're working through that. There's several opportunities for community input and engagement. We just rolled out the online survey, and there's an interactive map, and that is available on our website. It has been posted on social media as well. So please, all are encouraged to participate in that survey. And I'll just note that District 33 Emmons School was invited to participate, but chose not to. They're not in Antioch, but there are residents that can walk there. And so we did invite them to participate, but they're not included. Emmons, correct. And then, as the mayor mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, just want to acknowledge and thank the Parks Department and Public Works Department for successful opening of the Aquatic Center this past Memorial Day weekend, and the splash pad as well. And thank you for all the work that went into that and a successful kickoff weekend with some water.
All right, thank you. Village clerk, usually our longest report. All right, trustee reports. Anything? All right, I have a request to go into executive session for security procedures under 5 ILCS 120/2 C8. And potentially pending or imminent litigation under 2 C11. Do I have a motion and a second to go into executive session with no further business to take place afterwards?
Second.
Now I really got screwed up. Okay. I'll go motion trustee Bluthart, second trustee McNeil, roll call, please.
Mason? Luther?
Yes.
McNeil?
Yes.
Yes.
Pierce?
Aye.
Peterson?
Yes.
Voting yes, motion carries. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned into executive session.